This is ABC 7 News at 6.
Good evening and thank you for joining us. I'm Peter Dubois.
And I'm Beth Jones. First tonight, a man has been charged with murder after allegedly shooting his wife in her car in the town of Peru.
That man could be seen in tears during his first court appearance this afternoon. Mal Meyer has the story.
60-year-old David Goudreau appeared remotely from the Cumberland County Jail. He sobbed through the entire hearing. David Goudreau only appeared on screen a few times, wiping away tears or covering his face. And at one point, he let out with this.
What have I done?
He said through tears, "What have I expletive done?"
Report of a vehicle accident, landed in shots fired.
One neighbor who didn't want to go on camera says he heard several gunshots right after 7 o'clock, initially thinking they were fireworks and kids. He realized it was a woman whose screams he says will stick with him for a long time.
We knew there was some kind of commotion going on, and I didn't dare to go outside at the time.
Robin Doloff was at home with her husband and could tell the shooting was close by.
I froze. I thought, what should we do? Should we lock the doors and go hide?
State police say witnesses reported a truck stopped next to a car and someone fired into the vehicle. 59-year-old Dale Goudreau was found dead in the driver's seat. You can see her here in this 2017 photo. Investigators say her husband, David, called several family members and told them he shot her. Late last night, he surrendered.
From what I heard, it's a pretty sad situation, and I feel bad for all the family members.
Order that Mr. Goudreau be held without bail.
Goudreau did not enter a plea. He is being held without bail. His next hearing hasn't been scheduled yet.
And again, that was Mal Meyer reporting. Meanwhile, a woman arrested in the shooting death of a Bangor man has been indicted by the Penobscot County grand jury. 20-year-old Olivia Babin was indicted for manslaughter for allegedly shooting and killing 24-year-old Daniel Ford Coates in April. Bangor police were called to Highland Avenue for a report of a man shot in the head. Witnesses told police they saw Babin throw a gun into the Kentuskig Stream. The grand jury also indicted the person who allegedly pulled a knife on employees while trying to rob the Bangor Walmart. 19-year-old Neary Scott of Portage was indicted on 3 counts of robbery as well as theft by deception. Employees told officers they tried to stop Scott as he allegedly attempted to leave the store with a shopping cart full of alcohol. And the grand jury also indicted 60-year-old Timothy Philpott of Bradford. Philpott was involved in a standoff with police in March that caused those living on the Drake Road to shelter in place. State police say they received information that he was suicidal and threatened to hurt his wife. Philpott allegedly attempted to shoot down a drone during the standoff, which ended hours later. He was indicted on a variety of charges, including reckless conduct with a dangerous weapon and aggravated criminal mischief.
Well, during the off-season of the Maine legislature, there is often work still being done on key issues in the form of blue ribbon commissions. These commissions consist of both lawmakers and civilian stakeholders of a particular issue. The Blue Ribbon Commission studying DHHS services met for the first time this year. The panel is tasked with reviewing practices and how services are delivered at the Maine Department of Health and Human Services. They are also charged with coming up with solutions to any problems that they find. The commission is scheduled to hold 5 more meetings before preparing a final report to the legislature in December.
Emergency personnel from across the state were in Augusta on Wednesday for the 2024 Maine Partners in Emergency Preparedness Conference. Our Augusta reporter Corey Bouchard was there and has the story.
Anytime we do a Maine Preparedness Conference, it's an incredible opportunity for all our emergency preparedness personnel in the state to come together and build their resources so that we can do everything we need to do to keep Maine safe, secure, and prepared.
Brigadier General Diane Dunn serves as the Adjutant General of the Maine National Guard, as well as the Commissioner of the Maine Department of Defense, Veterans, and Emergency Management. She's talking about the 2024 Maine Partners in Emergency Preparedness Conference that took place on Wednesday in Augusta.
It's really important. We know that the storms are continuing to get worse. They're more frequent. We're getting more damage with those. So the things that we used to deal with before, the blizzards, the heavy snowstorms, still happen, but now we're looking at heavy rain, flooding, coastal surge.
One of the events at Wednesday's conference was a hazmat team competition, where hazmat teams from across the state went head-to-head at a number of tasks and skills while in full protective equipment.
It's important to know how hard our main emergency team works in making sure that we are prepared. They have been tested, more so than probably many other regions in the nation, and stand very strong in making sure that Maine is as safe as possible.
Pete Rogers, the director of the Maine Emergency Management Agency, says it's not just emergency personnel who should stay prepared for an emergency situation, so should the general public.
Just stay prepared. You know, that's why we're here. We're trying to learn to make sure that we can get the messaging out to the citizens of Maine. Things are getting more frequent. We know that the disasters are coming faster. They're more severe. So we need people to really think about their preparedness at home.
In Augusta, I'm Corey Bouchard for ABC7 and Fox 22 News.
Last week, a fire significantly damaged the Stacyville fire station, and Sunday, multiple sheds and a warehouse were destroyed in a fire at the New England rent-to-own in Chelsea. Both fires have been attributed in some way to lithium batteries. Our David Ledford spoke with fire officials to learn why these types of fires happen and what can be done to prevent them.
Lithium-ion batteries are a type of rechargeable battery often found in personal electronics, electric scooters, and power tools. When used properly, firefighters say they're safe.
We're using them every day. We have numerous safety tools that we use these batteries for.
But when they are left to charge for too long, Levant Fire Chief Eric Strout says they can overheat and become dangerous.
The battery itself is extremely safe. What we typically share in the public safety side is what we call thermal runaway. When that battery gets super hot, it gets heated when the cell's actually charging and the lithium in there. That's what's going to create the danger.
When they do happen, firefighters say fires involving lithium-ion batteries are harder to fight, require more water to extinguish, and have a chance of rekindling.
We actually have to fight those fires a little bit differently. A couple months ago, we had somebody come in and do a specific training just focused on, how to respond to lithium-ion battery incidents. They burn a lot longer.
Strout says lithium-ion batteries should be stored in a place that's cool and dry, and you shouldn't let any moisture get in them. And there are a few questions you should ask yourself whenever they're charging.
Are there any cracks? Are there any seals that are broken in it? Are they making any weird sounds when they're charging, giving off an odor, or are they getting super hot?
And Strout says you need to dispose of them properly.
Just don't throw it in a trash can. Take them to a recycling center.
For more safety tips, visit our website. In Levant, David Ledford, ABC7 and Fox 22 News.
Very important things to remember. Electronics so often make our lives more convenient, give us the capability to do things, but you can't forget that maintenance is required even when something is supposed to be easy.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
So some really good tips to keep in mind there, and some things that we might not always think about.
Absolutely.
All right.
Alrighty, folks. Well, something we've been thinking a lot about lately is the weather. That's becoming a constant. So let's go ahead and peek outside and get a first check of our forecast.
Thank you so much. Our first weather today is brought to you by Jordan's Furniture. It's not just a store, it's an experience. And speaking of experiences, we had a really great experience today, I should say. Almost June, and we are back in the 70s out there. Even the coast saw some lower 70s, Rockland, Bar Harbor into Machias. Not quite at 70 up north into Greenville and Millinocket area. They were back in those mid to upper 60s. But speaking of warm temperatures, the west, the Midwest, the upper Midwest is finally seeing that push of warmer air. North Dakota, they saw snow just 5 days ago, back in the 70s right now. So a big change in weather, and definitely warm down south Atlanta, and then of course Florida is cooking. They are in the 90s right now. Look at Tampa. Just imagine Orlando with all of that heat, and of course the humidity. Whew, oh boy. For us though, we are looking at a few passing clouds here and there. Not much humidity in our neck of the woods, and of course we are going to be cooling off, but not by much overnight as we hover back in those upper 40s.
Alrighty, Conrad, thank you. Coming up on ABC 7 News at 6, Maine's Junior Senator Angus King announces his bid for re-election.
And Senator Collins visited our station to talk about the Northern Light medical lawsuit, as well as other important topics. We'll have those stories and more when we come come right back.
What do heavy rain, extreme heat, and flying lumber all have in common? They're just a few of the things we use to test our replacement windows. At Renewal by Andersen, we put our windows through the worst because your home deserves the best. Renewal by Andersen Acclaim Custom Replacement Windows. Call or visit us online today to get some incredible savings. Affordable financing, too.
While politicians talked, President Trump fought for working people. He took on China and secured the border. I'm Austin Terrio, former NASCAR driver and small business owner. I'm proud to have President Trump's endorsement. Together we'll secure the border, stop Biden's electric vehicle mandate, and bring back American manufacturing. I'll fight to make sure our best days are ahead.
Endorsed by President Trump. Austin Terrio for Congress.
I'm Austin Terrio, and I approve this message.
Machias Savings Bank is proud to partner with Coastal Women's Health.
We want to be partnered with a company that's in Maine, that understands Maine values, but is committed to staying with Maine businesses and partnering for the future.
In the near future, Coastal Women's will be expanding our space to allow us to take care of more patients in southern Maine, and we're happy to be partnering with Machias to take care of our needs in that expansion.
Machias Savings Bank, the bank of yes.
Roto-Rooter has served the greater Bangor area and beyond for 35 years, offering plumbing, hydrojetting, snaking, descaling, video inspection, and grease interceptor cleaning services. For all your residential and commercial clogs, call Roto-Rooter today, 990-1234.
And away go troubles down the drain. Roto-Rooter.
You're watching ABC 7 Bangor.
Welcome back. Maine's junior senator and former governor officially filed his bid for re-election today. Senator Angus King delivered his 5,000 voter signatures required to qualify for the November ballot to the Secretary of State's Bureau of Elections. If re-elected, this would be King's third term. He was elected in 2012 to the seat vacated by former Senator Olympia Snowe. King says he's excited to be running for re-election and has heard positive feedback from people across the state.
I think people realize this is an important election. I'm running basically for two reasons. One, there's still a lot of things that we got to work on. Border security, immigration reform, reform of work on health care, housing, those kinds of issues. And then also, we need the middle. We need people in the Senate who work together and are willing to work together. We've lost a lot of those people in the last few years, and that worries me. And we're losing three this year: Joe Manchin, Kristen Sinema, and Mitt Romney. And so I feel like I have a role to play. So that's why I'm going back, or that's why I'm asking the people of Maine to send me back.
Senator King is being challenged for that seat by Republican Demi Kazunas and Democrat David Costello.
Well, yesterday I sat down with Senator Susan Collins here in our studio, and one of the topics we touched on was the recent filing of a lawsuit against Northern Light Health, alleging they implanted trackers in their website and transmitted private health information to Facebook, Google, and other third parties. Northern Light Health has vehemently denied those allegations. Senator Collins says the lawsuit fuels her feeling that action is needed at the federal level to protect digital privacy. Take a listen.
So I'll be watching this lawsuit very carefully. I'm beginning to think that perhaps we need a federal digital privacy law, because the laws vary from state to state, other than this overreaching law called HIPAA that protects medical information. But the invasions of privacy go far beyond medical information. So I think maybe it's time for Congress to look at whether there should be a federal data privacy law. I'm not sure the implications of that, but that's what came to mind.
Could be worth exploring.
Absolutely.
You know, this certainly isn't the first time that social media has come under fire recently, including Facebook and Meta. And so, in your view, do you feel like these technology and social media giants are being adequately regulated and are showing the proper accountability, or is there more work to do there?
There is more work to do. For example, I am a co-sponsor of a bipartisan bill that says that if you use a deep fake, in other words, if we took your image and put words in your mouth that you never said and put it on the internet, and it wasn't clearly satire, nor did the company have your permission, that you would have the right to stop that. I'm worried how that's going to be used in election campaigns where they could make a candidate appear to say something that the candidate did not, that was not obviously a funny satire.
Yeah, we already had that Joe Biden robocall that caused issues in New Hampshire.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. So I think you're going to see increasing problems because the technology is so advanced now that you simply cannot tell the difference.
And tomorrow we'll hear more from Senator Collins on other topics, including the legislation she is working on drafting in response to the Lewiston mass shooting.
And still to come on ABC 7 News at 6, seniors at Ellsworth High School were celebrated today during the school's second annual Decision Day.
And in sports, Bangor Christian boys track had a good day at PVC's this weekend, thanks in part to a few newcomers on the team. We'll have that story after the break.
Hammond Lumber Company has been a trusted partner of professional contractors, do-it-yourselfers, and homeowners for generations. It's the level of trust that Hammond Lumber has earned by providing an extensive selection of products and materials from industry-leading suppliers, with guidance and support through every stage of any project, including delivery of materials throughout Maine and New Hampshire. Hammond Lumber Company is, has been, and will always be your building project partner.
Hi, I'm Barry Gass, and my grandfather started Gass Horse Supply and Western Wear right here in Orono in 1911. Just after World War II, my father ran the business for decades. Now, with my wife and wonderful staff, we are continuing the tradition of bringing the American West to Maine. Our authentic Western boots are handcrafted for comfort, style, work, and casual wear. Saddle up with our premium selection of top quality saddles. Top it off with the perfect hat from classic to modern ranch. Gass Horse Supply and Western Wear in Orono, where the American West comes alive in Maine.
Your piece of land demands the very best equipment. Kubota Equipment, the #1 rated tractor brand for durability and owner experience, with professional-grade mowers, versatile sidekick utility vehicles, and compact tractors that get it done right, all backed by unmatched dealer support. Talk to your dealer today to schedule a demo.
Available at Doors Equipment, 1468 Outer Hammond Street, Bangor.
At AAA, saving money means as much to us as it does to our members. Nikki saved her family over $450 by switching to AAA auto insurance. Marianne switched and saved $350. And Philip saved over $400. Now is a great time to review your auto insurance policy. AAA is here to help you with your auto, home, and life insurance needs. Call 844-AAA Insurance or visit AAA.com for an auto insurance quote today. AAA, we're always with you.
Tonight's sports is brought to you by the KG. Stop in for hunting and fishing supplies, apparel, and homemade food.
Welcome back in, everyone. Thanks for staying with us. Let's kick things off with some track and field. The Bangor Christian boys had a great weekend at the PVC Small School Meet ahead of states next weekend, all thanks to a few new members of the team. Ryan Sudol has more.
They've been putting in so much work, and to see school records being broken and medals being handed out, it's amazing.
It's not often you see a turnaround like this in high school track and field. Bangor Christian boys placed second in PVCs last weekend after placing 9th last year.
It's just special. And even though we're a small school, we have a lot of athletes that are really gifted. And I think just being able to showcase that to other schools, it means a lot.
The Patriots had 3 individual champions, but the most notable moment, them going 1, 2, 3 at triple jump. Seniors Colton White and Jalen Reed 2nd and 3rd, and Jalen's brother, freshman Rajan Reed, at the top.
It feels great. First year doing track, and to be able to put points on the board is special. I tried it out during practice, and apparently I'm good at it, so
As for Colton and Jalen, who also placed first and third in long jump, it's extra special. This is the first season they have ever done track and field.
I was a little upset that they both beat me, but it's all cool. It's great to see all three of us up there, especially just new to the sport. Yeah, it was great.
In the beginning of the school year, Mr. Wortman was talking to me a lot about track, and then we kind of practiced my jumps just to see how good we would do, and we were doing pretty good with it.
So Colton made the decision on his own. But Jalen...
I didn't really have a decision that much. They kind of just told me I was doing track, and I was like, all right. I don't even know if I signed my name up. I think they might have.
Going back to Rajan, his accolades don't stop. At his first meet, his triple jump mark was good enough to land him in freshman nationals next month in Philadelphia.
It was after the first meet, so I didn't really know anything about freshman nationals. I was just excited to go.
And ahead of the Class C meet on Saturday, with all that this team has accomplished, the Patriots are feeling the love from the always supportive track community.
Obviously, all the coaches want to win. They want to do the best that they possibly can, but everyone's always supportive, and they're excited about seeing some of these smaller schools like Bangor Christian come out of nowhere and really put on a show.
In Bangor, I'm Ryan Sudol, ABC 7, Fox 22 Sports.
Thanks for that, Ryan. Let's go to the football field now. Another day of Patriots off-season OTAs on Wednesday. Just 7 of those before minicamp starts. There's a lot of newness around New England this year. New guys under center, new head coach in Gerard Mayo, and a ton of new assistants, 17 new coaches in total. Mayo being asked on Wednesday how he plans to make the culture his own after 20 years of the quote-unquote Patriot Way and Bill Belichick. And he says the core principles of that Patriot Way aren't going anywhere.
In my opinion, let me say in my opinion, I couldn't articulate what the Patriot Way is. I just know that hard work works. And that's how I looked at the Patriot Way, is that we just worked harder than everyone else. And I do, I believe in that philosophy as well. So we'll be out here working hard. And look, you try to put the guys in difficult situations to see how they respond. You put them in the weight room, heavy weight on their back, see how they respond, and try to build a tough, dependable football team.
All right, looking forward for that season to get underway. That is all the time we have for sports. Here is your full weather forecast.
Thank you so much. Our main weather today is brought to you by Diversified Ink Tattoo Studios at Penobscot Plaza in Bangor, providing custom ink by licensed artists for over 20 years. Back in the 70s out there earlier today. It just felt great. I loved it. We are still back in the 60s right now. Rockland, 70 degrees. Bar Harbor, 71. Machias, same story. You were in those lower 70s. Tad bit cooler up north. Greenville, Millinocket, back in those mid to upper 60s. Finally, our average high is right around that 70-degree mark. So, of course, today, above average. Tomorrow, closer to average. Friday, same story, closer to average. And then we are really warming up. Look at this. We are looking at 80s making a return Sunday and then into beginning of next week. So it is going to be nice and toasty out there. Don't forget that sunscreen in the next several days. You don't need any sunscreen down south. If you're in Pennsylvania right now, we are looking at some showers, even a couple of rumbles of thunder right about there where those yellow and orange colors are, indicating some heavier rain and, of course, some thunderstorms down south. For us, though, not even close to what they're getting down south. We are just looking at a little bit of clouds out there. Other than that, we are in the clear. We're going to continue to stay in the clear. Tomorrow, partly cloudy skies, but there is a chance for a couple of sprinkles. By a couple of sprinkles, I mean don't cancel your plans. You don't even need an umbrella. And then we're going to continue to stay in the clear Friday into Saturday. Now, by just a few sprinkles, this is what I mean. Right at the coast, 0.4 inches of rain, possibly Machias 0.03. So that is way less than even 1/10 of an inch of rain here in town. It looks like we're going to be at 0, but a couple of sprinkles are possible by tomorrow. Other than that, we're going to continue to stay dry and warming up. Winds are pretty light, around 12 miles per hour in town. Right up north, Millinocket areas at 12 as well. Waterville's at 13. Close to the coast, we're at a 5 to 10 mile per hour breeze. Now for tonight, though, pretty calm. We're going to see winds starting to calm down. Mostly clear skies overall, though. Temperatures back in those mid-40s. So with those light winds, of course, that's going to let that cool air make its way all the way down to the surface. Now for tomorrow, though, a little bit better, right? We are talking temperatures around 70 degrees, a little bit more clouds, partly cloudy, but the winds are going to stay light. Out of the north-northwest, only at around 10 to 15 miles per hour. Our extended forecast outlook does get better. Look at this. Back at 71, mostly sunny by Friday. Enjoy it. Saturday, mostly sunny. 70s, mid-70s at that. And what is this right behind me? Check this out, folks. We are talking low 80s making a return Sunday into Monday. But overall, though, finally, we're going to be in a drier weather pattern, mainly staying dry the next several days.
All right, little break from the rain.
Yeah, we'll take it.
We will.
Lots of sunshine. We enjoy that.
Okay. Well, there is still more to come. Stay with us.
While politicians talked, President Trump fought for working people. He took on China and secured the border. I'm Austin Terrio, former NASCAR driver and small business owner. I'm proud to have President Trump's endorsement. Together we'll secure the border, stop Biden's electric vehicle mandate, and bring back American manufacturing. I'll fight to make sure our best days are ahead.
Endorsed by President Trump. Austin Terrio for Congress.
I'm Austin Terrio, and I approve this message.
You're way shorter than I thought you'd be. There's a shirtless selfie of me by the dumbbells. Here I am. I do air drumming. I'm a competitive air drummer.
Oh, wow.
By the way, I forgot my wallet at home, so sugar mama.
Will you excuse me?
The Hyundai Tucson with advanced tech and safety features. There's joy in every journey. Lease an all-wheel drive Tucson for $229 a month, or get 3.99% APR, or up to $2,000 bonus cash. See your local Bangor Hyundai dealer.
This Memorial Day, remember to honor the brave who sacrificed for our freedom. At the Furniture Gallery, we're here to help you create memorable moments at home. Add a new sofa, or a new recliner, or how about a new reclining sofa? Upgrade to a better night's sleep with a new mattress and get a free adjustable base. Completely transform your bedroom with a new Von Bassett bedroom set and save 20%. Join the Furniture Gallery this Memorial Day as we honor our heroes and offer unbeatable deals. Maine family-owned and operated, the Furniture Gallery.
Hello, fellow flyers. I'm the Savvy Traveler, here to share the secrets of convenience at Bangor International Airport. Parking, you're steps away from the terminal. Inside, even more conveniences. And friendly, efficient security. All of these make BGR the official airport of you. Remember, the Savvy Travel through Bangor International Airport. Flybangor.com.
Finally tonight, as soon-to-be graduates across the state inch closer to their final days of high school, the seniors at Ellsworth High were celebrated today during the school's second annual Decision Day ceremony. Our Grace Blanchard was there.
Students piled in to the Ellsworth High School auditorium for the school's second annual Decision Day celebration. The ceremony aims to highlight Ellsworth seniors and their post-graduation plans.
Some may be going in the workforce, some may be going in the military or post-secondary education, gap years even. Whatever it is, we support them. We're glad they got to this point, and we want them to know that that's important.
Students say it's bittersweet looking towards their final days, but they're mostly filled with lots of excitement for what's ahead.
A lot of my friends are going to college, a lot of them are going to a trade school, and I'm just really proud of everybody that we all have opportunities ahead of us.
I feel like it's nice to be able to let other people know what you've accomplished and what you're going to start accomplishing over the next chapter of your life. So I feel like it's a good thing that we've implemented into our school.
School officials hope this will also inspire their younger peers to start thinking about what's next, as it will one day be them walking across the stage.
Hopefully they see these kids and they see that I can do that too, and that's where I want to be in 4 years, is graduating and walking across that stage, signing that certificate.
In Ellsworth, Grace Blanchard, ABC 7 and Fox 22 News.
And we'll take this opportunity to wish all the local seniors, best of luck in that next chapter. Enjoy it. It goes by so quickly.
It does. It's such an exciting time, but savor the moments you have together, and just best of luck going forward, as you said.
And keep those lifelong friendships. They come in handy later. All right, folks, that's going to do it for us. From everyone here at ABC 7, good night.
Good night, everyone. Join us over on Fox 22 News tonight.
Tonight, jury instructions as the historic criminal trial nears its end. Plus, the cleanup as communities brace for more severe weather and the record high heat. More Americans turn to World News Tonight with David Muir, the most watched newscast on television.
However, she had said to you, which you did not tell me, and which she denies, that I will go with you and I will also pay for my half of the trip. Neither one of you said that to me. That would be a contract that I could enforce. But the fact that the lady changed her mind is not something that a court can enforce.
But one thing she did say in the beginning when we first talked about cruising, she goes, I am an independent woman. I can pay for myself. I don't need a man to pay for me.
That's nice. That's still not a contract, Mr. Hubbard. Thank you.
No, that's fine.
Case is over.
Parties are excused. May step out.
Judge Judy continues in a moment. And on the next Judge Judy.
My opinion's the only one that counts.
I wanted to go on her cruise with her because I was madly in love with her.
I'm very thankful because it's what it is.
Oh, she just called me from her friend's house and told me that she saw me on the website.
If someone invites you to a cruise and you don't want to go,
but never gave me an opportunity to explain what was going on.
You have the right to say no to an invitation.
I was on the website because I couldn't figure out how to cancel it.
And he's lying.
It's time to move on. I mean, she's a great person, but
I like for him.
It's what it is.
Coming up, a man has been charged with murder after allegedly shooting his wife in her car.
Plus, the Blue Ribbon Commission studying DHHS met for the first time this year.
And Senator Angus King files for re-election. We'll have those stories and more just ahead.
This is Fox 22 News Tonight.
Good evening, everyone, and thank you for joining us. I'm Peter Dubois.
And I'm Beth Jones. First tonight, a man has been charged with murder after allegedly shooting his wife in her car in the town of Peru.
That man could be seen in tears during his first court appearance this afternoon. Mal Meyer has the story.
60-year-old David Goudreau appeared remotely from the Cumberland County Jail. He sobbed through the entire hearing. David Goudreau only appeared on screen a few times, wiping away tears or covering his face. And at one point, he let out with this.